Okay, class, we are on part 2. This is Unit 9 Daily Living for Wednesday, May 20th. Once again, there's all my information if you need to stop the video and copy any of that down. What I want to start with is back on page 114 that we just covered. If you didn't do it at the end of the activity, go ahead and stop the video and practice answering and asking those questions and answers that we wrote. Because that gives you practice with asking about a service and answering about the recommendations. Okay, so once you've done that, go ahead and turn the video back on, and I want to review a concept with you. Let's talk about things a plumber can do and things an electrician can fix. So if you have a sink broken in your house, who would you call? Would you call an electrician or would you call a plumber? For sinks, you would call a plumber. What if you had an outlet, where you plug your lamps and anything electric in? Who would you call? You would call an electrician to fix outlets, right? What if you had, let's see, a light that wouldn't turn on, lights that wouldn't turn on? Who would you call to fix the lights? Would you call a plumber or an electrician? An electrician, that's right. All right, what if you had a toilet leak? Would you call a plumber or an electrician? Let's call a plumber for that one. Okay, what if you had a clog in your bath tub and it wouldn't drain? Who would you call? Plumber. That would be for the bathtub or shower. Or any drain that's stopped up. It can be in your sinks or tubs, showers, whatever. If you have water backing up, you would want to call a plumber. What if you had something go wrong in your fuse box? You would call an electrician for that. Okay, because that controls the electricity to your house. Let's see. What about a leak in the dishwasher? Okay, well, we're going to put plumber on that. But since it's an appliance, you could possibly also call an appliance repair person, but that's not one of our choices. So if it's a leak, we're going to call a plumber, right? Like I had a pipe bust outside and it was leaking water, I'm going to call a plumber, right? If I have leaky pipes. Or a hot water heater repair, that's going to be a plumber. Anything dealing with water is going to be calling a plumber. Anything dealing with electricity, you're going to call an electrician to help with the repair. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for just 1 second and clear our screen, and so we can move on to the next activity. And we're back. Okay, so what I would like for you to do is get out your workbook, and we're going to do pages 106 and 107. Okay, so let's look at those. So part 1 is asking the question, so you'll need to put do or does, and then you'll need to finish up the answers using the words in parentheses that they give you for the answer. And then in part 2, you're going to have to, it gives you the question, and this time you're going to have to write the answer. Please use full sentences when you are doing these. Don't just write the answer. You need to write in full sentences. Number 3, you're going to have to look at business cards just like we did in the previous activity and answer questions 2, 3, and 4. One's done for you. And the same thing for part 4, except that once again, please write in complete sentences. When you have finished 106 and 107, come back and we'll go over them together. So go ahead and stop your video and complete those activities. Okay, so we are going to start going over page 106, part 1. We're putting do or does in the questions, and then we're writing a sentence for the answer. So number 1 is done for you. It says, which plumber do they recommend? We use do because they is in the sentence. And then we're given Jerry's Plumbing, so we're going to say they recommend Jerry's Plumbing. We say they because that was also in the question. So number 2, it says, which teacher, we're going to use does he recommend because it has he. So that makes us use does. Okay. Now for the question we're given, that's the question. For the answer, we're given Joe Thompson. So we're going to say he recommends Joe Thompson. Okay, so he, because that's in the question, and recommends because it's he or she recommends, right? And we're given the answer Joe Thompson. So let's look at number 3. Number 3 says, which electrician, we see you, so it's going to be do. You recommend. We're given the answer wired electric. So since we had you is I, because if you're talking to someone, they're going to come back and say, I recommend a wired electric. Okay. So remember how we've went over do and does before. So if it's I, we're going to say recommend. Number 4, which pharmacy we see it says they. So with they we use do. So which pharmacy do they recommend? They recommend right price. Okay. This is from the question, they, and when we use they, we say recommend. Okay. Number 5, which bank? We see she, so we're going to use does. Which bank does she recommend? She recommends. We're going to use recommends because of she. Bank and trust. Okay. She recommends bank and trust. Last one, number 6. I'm going to scroll just a little bit. Try to keep all that on the screen so you can see it. We see which supermarket. We see he. So with he, we use does. And which supermarket does he recommend? He recommends Save More. Okay. He, because that came from the question, and Save More because it's given to us for the answer. So there's your answers for part 1. Once again, go ahead, stop the video, make any corrections. It's also, anytime we have an activity like this where it has questions and answers, it's a good idea that if you have someone available to practice, if you don't, just go ahead and read aloud. And that gives you practice with your reading and your fluency, and also practice with how we would answer questions in English, obviously. So if you're, go ahead and stop the video, make any corrections, and I'm going to delete all this, and we're going to move to part 2. Okay, so number 1, the babysitter. Which babysitter does Marion recommend? And we're given her cousin, so she recommends her cousin. They use Marion. Marion recommends her cousin. Okay, so this time we are, instead of filling in the questions, we're doing the answers. So number 2, which plumber do you suggest? I suggest drains are us. Okay. Just like when we do our paragraphs, we're using the verbiage, the words from the question and the answer. It says, which plumber do you suggest? And then we're going to say, I suggest. So words from your question are going to fill out the answer. Number 3, which auto mechanic does your husband like? He likes Ed Peterson. Okay. Number 4, which doctor does your daughter recommend? She recommends, because daughter is she, recommends Dr. White. Okay, and we always capital when it's a name and a title. Okay, which supermarket do you and your family like? When it says you and your family, that's a group of people, so we're going to use we like Food City. And number 6, which ESL program does your wife like? So wife is she. Oh, which does she recommend? So she recommends Rockland Adult School. Okay. She recommends Rockland Adult School. Last one, number 7. Which clinic do you and your husband suggest? You and your husband is more than one person, so that's again a we statement. We suggest the city clinic. Okay, there's something else I want you all to make note of. When we are doing like talking about places and asking for help, when you see the word recommend, suggest, like, prefer, I think that's the only ones they use in here. If there's other ones, I'll tell you later. But all of those mean the same thing in this instance. In this instance, these, when you're recommending, suggesting, if you say you like a particular business or that you prefer a particular business, those all mean the same thing, that that's the company that you use or the company that you would tell someone else to use, okay? So just keep that in mind, that we are using all 4 of those verbs interchangeably in this unit, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and erase our screen, and we are going to go to part 3 on page 107. All right. Okay, so it said read the ads, and we're going to circle the answer. So we see the 2 ads, and it says, it's Saturday, and your friend's dishwasher has a leak. you recommend who? Do we recommend Fix-It Appliance Repair? Excuse me, or ABC Repair? Let's look at their business ads, and we see that ABC is open 7 days a week. So if it's Saturday, we're going to call ABC Repair. Okay, so let's look at number 2. And it says, you want a licensed repair person to fix your dryer. Your friend recommends, are they going to recommend Fix-It or ABC? Well, only ABC says license, and our work is guaranteed. So if we're going to use a licensed repair person, we're going to use ABC. So that's our answer for number 2. Number 3, your mother needs a repair person for her stove right now. So who would we use? Up in the ad for Fix-It Appliance Repair, we see that they have same-day service. So we're probably going to call them if we need a repair right now. So we're going to use Fix-It. And last one, number 4. You want a repair person to clean the floor after a job is finished. So after they finish making the repair, we want somebody who's going to clean up after themselves and not leave a mess. Who? Your parents recommend who? Let's look at the ad. And under Fix-It Appliance Repair, we see in bold letters, we always clean up. So that means they're going to clean up any mess made during the repair before they leave. So for this job, we want to hire Fix-It. So there's your answers for 2, 3, and 4. Make any corrections. There's not a lot to that part. And let's go on to part 4. Okay, so this time we're given All Keys Locksmith and Smitty's Locksmith. So we're also given, we're asked a question, and then we're given a reason to make a sentence out of why we use a particular business. So in number 1 it says, which locksmith do you recommend? So if it says you, we're going to say, I recommend All Keys. Why? Because it's open 24 hours. See, we're given All Keys in 24 hours. Okay? So, and we're use because when we're talking about why we're going to use that business. Okay, so let's look at number 2. Which locksmith do they suggest? Do they suggest? They? Why is it not? They suggest who? Smitty's. Why? Or because? Because it's licensed. We're given that reason. Okay. Number 3. Which locksmith does Harry like? So we're going to say Harry likes. We're going to look back and see in parentheses, who does he like? He likes All Keys Locksmith. Why? So we're going to put because. And we're going to look back and see why. Because they are more experienced. Yay. Okay, got it. All right, number 4. Which locksmith does Muriel suggest? So Muriel suggest who we Smitty's, because that's the answer, that's the business we're given. Why? So we're going to say because. Why? They give free keys. Okay? Because that's what the reason that we're told. Okay, so number 5, last one. Which locksmith do the Corwins recommend? So since it's a group of people or a family, we're going to say they recommend who? All keys. And why? So we're going to say because. And we're given they have fast service. Okay, once again, this is a good activity to go ahead and read back aloud. If you have someone to practice with, that would be great to ask and answer. If not, just practice reading aloud. And this is the end of part 2. So go ahead and leave your name in the comment section to get credit for attendance, and I'll see you back here for part 3.